This is my 2005, brand new to me, Chevy Tahoe. First Tahoe I've ever owned. I have lots of friends that own these Tahoes and said good things about them. Got a good deal on it from a local dealership. Yeah, there's a reason I got a good deal from a dealer. This may be in many years my worst car purchase, even though this looks so nice. Let me get into that here. When I first inspected this thing myself, I did not hire a mechanic to do a pre-purchase inspection. I inspected it myself. Let's go over a couple good on this one. We've got a good running engine. Doesn't smoke at all, doesn't leak any oil, which are two things that it's really hard to find in this market of nothing but trash used cars right now. I mean, everything is trashed, and you're paying double the price for a car you could have got 3 or 4 years ago, and you're getting half the car. Usually you're getting something that's much worse. Used cars are a shortage. Used cars are through the roof on price, and you're paying a ton for trash. So I may have spent a ton of money for trash here, but I'll go over that here. I'll go over that in a moment. But starts, runs, drives great. It just starts up every time. I think this car may have been the perfect storm of bad things happening all at once, which is why I cannot drive this. There's a reason I cannot drive this car to work right now, because I bought this car the end of October, and I live in Colorado. There's something you can't live without. You can live without AC in Colorado. It's not fun, and I've lived without AC before. This car apparently seems to have a good running AC right now. The only problem is it's never-ending AC. It's ice cold all the time. And it's even if you turn the air compressor off, of course, ice cold air comes in because we're in Colorado and it's now winter time. So because of that, I can't drive it. My mechanic says until they get in and pull the entire dashboard out, they don't know what was done back there. There was something that these people did, and they may or may not have done it right. We don't know what they did back there. So because of that, they gave me a safe estimate. $5,000 is my safe estimate for pulling out the entire dash, possibly reworking all of the heater tubes, vents, hoses, and also if you're going to pull all the dashboard out, you might as well change the heater core. You're going to change, there's 4 actuators back there. You're going to change the actuators out. You're going to change possibly some of the those little brackets and some of the accessories that make the heater work. So you're going to be changing those as well. So they gave me a safe estimate of $5,000 to pull the entire dash and fix whatever was done incorrectly before I purchased this. It says cloth seats. They're a little bit lighter color than I would prefer, but the cloth seats are very nice for 2005. They're not covered in stains like most used cars are now. And the rest of the interior looks pretty good, barring a little bit of fading. We got a little bit of fading there in the surface of the dash, which you'd expect, and strangely enough, a headlight sensor is missing from the dash, which was hanging down below here. Part of my problem. It appears that the last owner had this entire dashboard out before they traded it in. So it appears they had the entire dashboard pulled out to try to fix, I'm sure, the same problem I'm having. No heat. When you've got no heat, no way to defrost your car, and you're in Colorado, that's a problem. So I believe they had the entire dashboard out, and they threw it back together in a hurry to trade it in because they could not fix whatever was the problem. All right, under the hood, this is another reason I bought this vehicle. Very clean under here. We have the 5.3 liter Vortec engine. I've heard lots of good things about these, that they're easy to rebuild, they're a powerful engine, and it does seem to be pretty powerful moving this 6,500 pound beast. It's a pretty stout engine so far, so I'm impressed with the engine, with one little caveat there, but we'll get into that shortly. I did notice that we have this strange grounding wire that's just dangling here that runs from the hood, I believe, right here to the chassis. I'm not sure why a vehicle would need a grounding wire going to the hood. other than there might have been a light here at one point. I think there was some type of light here, so maybe, but where's the other wires that would go to that light? So kind of something interesting there. I don't know if anybody else can fill me on that, but from what I've heard is that that grounding wire there is actually to help the radio not get interference. I don't know, or maybe it helps the vehicle in some other way. Ground wire to the hood, and the hood has no other power that I see to it, so a little bit strange. When I did check it, the .3 brake fluid is full. When you open it up, you can definitely smell that it's dirty and it's black. It definitely needs to be changed out, which again, in this market, you're buying a used car, you're going to expect to be changing the brakes, the brake fluid, the spark plug wires as well. Let's see if we can actually see in there at all. Spark plug wires are okay, but they're taped up. They've got electrical tape around them, so I was expecting to change the brake fluid, spark plug wires as well. My vehicle came with one key and one generic aftermarket key fob with no markers onto it. This big button is the unlock and the small button is the lock, as I believe, but I have to push both of them to find out because I'm not used to these GM style key fobs. I actually did buy some more. I've got some coming in the mail, so let's get this thing started. Okay. There it is, clear up there. Okay, first of all, we're just going to get here's my OBD2 port. Let's get that plugged in. Let's get a nice little reading here. Let's find out what's going on. Why do I have a check engine light that came on right after I drove this home from the dealer? Okay, code P0332, knock sensor 2 circuit, low input, bank 2. So, knock sensors. I've seen that that's a job I can do myself. It's not going to be an easy job for you to do in your own garage, but it looks like that's one I'm stuck with. I just got done airing up all the tires. Every tire was about 26 psi. Door Jam says they should be at 35 psi. So these dealers, when they get these auction cars in, they don't even check the tires. I mean, every tire was 10 pounds low on tire pressure. That could have accounted for some of the squirreliness when I get this out on the highway, that every tire was at 25, 26 psi when they're supposed to be at 35 psi. So yeah, that's another thing to look for. I guess you got to bring your own tire pressure gauge with you so that you can make sure that the tires are even close to being inflated to what they're supposed to be. So I've got them all aired up to 35 psi. All right, as I lose light here and my flashlight dies, I'm going to try to show one more thing in here. Take a look at that lovely headliner there. That headliner looks worse than my 67 Mustang's headliner, which that headliner's bad. No, this one's not that bad. It's just strange that it's coming off so soon. 2005, you wouldn't expect it to be peeling back like that. So the headliner is falling out over on the other side, and it's starting to come out here. It looks like somebody pushed it up with something, and then this side is just completely coming off. This is cosmetic stuff, though. I can live with a bad headliner. I've lived with bad headliners before, so this, if I wasn't expected to put $11,000 of repairs into this vehicle, I wouldn't mind this headliner being bad. But buying a vehicle and having to put $11,000 into it, then you have a bad headliner on top of that. It kind of is a little bit adds insult to injury that you just can't have anything nice. So I think the upper and lower control arms are okay. It's the steering that's an issue. Huh. Very interesting. Usually you can't just, there's no key in the ignition. Usually you can't just turn the tires when there's no key in the ignition. I just got a estimate from the tire shop, $260 for new tire pressure monitors. So tire pressure monitors all 4 ways around, $260. Liftgate shocks for both the lid and the tailgate. That's not that expensive. That was only 30 bucks each for those. Heater blower motor, that is around 100 bucks for the one that is made for GM. I can get a cheaper one on Amazon. Not sure about that yet. I got to get the resistor for it as well. The dashboard does not need to come out anymore. The last owner pulled that out and the dealership did take care of that for me. So that's one thing that is taken care of. And we are going to start replacing the headlights. Are very dim at night. I cannot see through those, so I've got to replace those main lights with something brighter. We also have the fog lights are pretty dim as well. For having all the lights on, it's very dark at night. I am going to start right now on the knock sensors and the intake manifold gasket. The dealer did come through, so with his own mechanic for $1,100 with dealer cost rather than regular Joe cost to a mechanic. It was $1,100 to pull out the dashboard and replace that. I did still go into the heater and let's see if I did get into this lower section here there, replace the heater blower motor. So I did that myself. It doesn't blow a lot more air. It doesn't make it any hotter than it did after the mechanic worked on it. However, it's quieter now, so it doesn't make that squealy noise. So I dodged a bullet there. I put in my own LED lights to light up the interior a little bit. I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but those are a lot brighter than the original lights. It was very dim, dull, and yellow in here. Now it's much brighter. And this mechanic Ivan was the only mechanic in town that could figure out this panel needed to be replaced, but all of the actuators need to be rewired. Apparently a bunch of the wiring had been cut by the prior owner. So I've got heat here now. So that little dealer that I thought sold me a lemon, well, he still may have, but actually came through for me, and I got the whole dashboard pulled apart and they replaced all that. I have got heat back here now. Yeah. So yeah, I'm actually back in business. Of course, I still have my check engine light. I need to put a new knock sensors in, and tire pressure monitor light is still on because I've got no tire pressure monitors in these tires. So tire pressure monitor is going to be on until I get new tires on here and can get monitors put in. And check engine light should go off once I put in the new knock sensors. But heat, I have heat. Brand new console there. Yeah, baby. So these lights were out before because this heater control panel was not functioning at all. So Ivan, the mechanic, when he was in there taking apart the dashboard, apparently some of the wiring was missing to this piece back here. So the wiring was missing to this piece, as well as some of the wiring was cut underneath the dash, which I could see too. I saw some of the wiring was missing too. So there's several modules, heater actuator modules were cut. The wires were cut to them as well back there. So he had to fix all that there, but I've got heat again. Let's see if this will just to go. Yeah, heat. Just turn those up and the heat comes out. That is so nice. This was the coldest Chevy I've ever owned, but heat comes out now. CD player does not work though. I tried to put a CD in there and it just makes noise. However, I do have Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance. Screaming for Vengeance. There, let's see if that's gonna work. Judas Priest is in the house. Yeah, so we got Judas Priest going. You can say what you want about what kind of lemon I got, but the cassette deck plays. CD player doesn't, but the cassette does. We still have Check engine light on. Service tire pressure monitor is still on too, because I don't have tire pressure monitors. But I've got a heater control panel and heater actuator modules that actually work.